In today's video, we are going to explore the difference between a narcissistic mother and a healthy mother. If this is something that interests you, then please stay tuned to find out more. You may have thought that you grew up with a healthy mother because, let's be honest, we don't know any different. We may have grown up with a mother who was neglectful or abusive, but that may have seemed normal to us, because we didn't have a comparison. Unless, of course, we had a friend whose mother seemed completely different to our own. And that is how we knew that something was just not quite right. Now, I'm going to explore the healthy versus narcissistic mother in 4 different areas. The first one being emotional needs, the emotional needs that the child has. Now, I'm going to start off with how a normal mother would approach a child's needs, and then I'm going to talk about how the narcissistic mother approaches these needs. So a normal, healthy mother would notice her child's emotions, would respond to these emotions with curiosity, and would comfort her child before possibly correcting or helping her child correct its behavior. A normal, healthy mother may not be perfect. She may still make mistakes, but she wants to understand her child's inner world. She wants to understand what her child is feeling and why. A narcissistic mother, on the other hand, sees her child's emotions as an inconvenience. She feels threatened by her child's emotions, especially the ones that she doesn't agree with or that she isn't comfortable with. She will minimize, dismiss, or mock her child's emotions. And she will make the child feel really dramatic, or that their emotions are wrong, or she will tell her child to stop being so sensitive. A narcissistic mother experiences her child's emotions as a threat, as an inconvenience, not something to care for. Now, when we look at boundaries in a relationship between a mother and her child, first of all, when we look at the healthy mother, she will respect her child's boundaries, even if she doesn't agree with them. She will respect her child's individuality, she will accept any disagreements, and she will allow the child to grow and separate emotionally. Whereas in comparison, the narcissistic mother feels entitled to her child. She takes boundaries personally when her child asserts them. And when that happens, she uses guilt or anger or even withdrawal to deal with those boundaries. For a narcissistic mother, her child's boundaries feel like a rejection. Now, when we look at love and approval in a relationship of a mother and her child, the normal, healthy mother will always consistently give her child love and approval. The child does not feel like it has to earn these things or that it has to earn safety. Love and approval is given to the child in abundance. Love and approval are always consistent in a relationship between a healthy mother and her child. Now, when we look at a narcissistic mother, unfortunately, both love and approval are conditional. The child has to perform in order to gain approval from the mother and love. And if the child doesn't do what the mother wants, she will reject or emotionally abandon her child. The child learns, if I behave correctly, if I am the good girl or the good boy, that is when I am loved. The child doesn't feel loved just by existing, just by being who they are. They only feel like they are loved and appreciated if they do exactly what the narcissistic mother wants them to do. The last area I want to focus on in regards to a normal, healthy mother and a narcissistic mother is when it comes to making mistakes and accountability. A healthy mother is able to apologize when she makes mistakes. She can tell her child that, mom isn't perfect, but she apologizes to the child for those mistakes. So if she maybe loses her temper and shouts at her child, she'll say, I'm really sorry that I shouted at you. Mommy was really tired. Mommy was really angry. but that was wrong and I didn't want to do that. A healthy mother always reflects on her behavior and she is able to apologize. She is able to repair after conflict with her child. So the child then can feel better, it can feel heard, it can feel understood. And this is very, very important. Now, a narcissistic mother, on the other hand, is never accountable. She cannot apologize to her child. She constantly rewrites history and she blames the child for absolutely everything. It is extremely painful for children that their mother was never able to be accountable for any bad behaviors, for any mistakes that she made. Now, in order to understand the differences better, because obviously if you grew up with an unhealthy mother, a narcissistic mother, you don't really know what a healthy mother's responses would be to a child growing up. So I will give you a few examples so this is better understood. When a child is having really big, intense emotions, a healthy mother would respond in the following ways. I can see that you're really upset. Do you want to talk about it? And when a mother says this, the child feels that it's okay to have these big emotions and that it's safe to feel them. The mother will sit nearby the child without rushing, without trying to fix what it's feeling. She will allow the child to get upset. She will allow the child to have a good cry without shaming the child. She will help the child name the feeling. And this enables the child to feel safe to express whatever emotions they have. Now, when it comes to boundaries and the child wants to set a boundary with their parent, a healthy mother would respond to these boundaries with respect, even if she feels discomfort. She will not punish or withdraw from her child. She will not demand any explanations and she will not take it personally. She will remind herself that it's okay for her child to have boundaries and that this is healthy. She will say to her child, I understand that you need space right now. I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. And this, of course, helps the child feel safe in asserting its boundaries, and it knows that it can always have the space that it needs, but also always go back to mum when they need it. It's okay for the child to be separate from the mother, and they're allowed to have space. Now, when it comes to the child making a mistake, how does a healthy mother respond to this? She always makes sure that she separates the behavior from the identity of her child. She corrects her child without shaming it, and she teaches the child instead of attacking its character. She may say, this wasn't a good choice. Let's figure out what to do next together. And if you want to figure this out on your own and come to me later, that's also okay. But you're not in trouble. Clear communication is what the child needs in a moment where they make a mistake. And they need to know that their parent is an ally. It's important for the child to understand that any mistake they make doesn't jeopardize the love that their mother has for them. Now, what happens when the mother makes a mistake? Well, a healthy mother will reflect and apologize. She'll acknowledge the impact her mistake makes, not just the intent of this mistake. And she'll try and repair the relationship. She'll say to the child, I'm really, really sorry I spoke to you that way yesterday. I was overwhelmed and I shouldn't have done that. In other words, the child gets the message that they don't have to take accountability for their mother's behavior. It is the mother's responsibility to do that. Now, what happens when the child is in need of comfort? A normal, healthy mother will comfort her child before advising her child. She will not minimize or compare, and she will offer physical and emotional presence. She'll say to her child, that sounds really hard. Why don't you come here? Or she'll say, do you need a hug? That sounds really, really painful. She will offer comfort. And if the child doesn't want it, then so be it. But she will make sure that her child knows that she's there. What happens when the child starts becoming their own person and is very different to their mum? The healthy mother will encourage individuality. She will not feel like she has to compete, and she will not feel threatened. And she will support her child's interests even if she doesn't relate. She will say to her child, that's really not my thing, but I love that it's yours and I hope that you keep enjoying it. And the underlying message with this is you are allowed to be yourself. Now, what happens when the child disagrees with the mother? Well, a healthy mother will not take the child's disagreement personally. She will listen without retaliation, and she doesn't see disagreement as being disrespected. She'll say to her child, I actually see this very differently, but I'm glad you told me. And the child will feel that their voice matters, that it's okay to express a differing point of view. Lastly, what happens when the child is struggling as an adult? How does a healthy mother respond to this? Well, she offers support without trying to control her child. She respects her adult child's autonomy, and she doesn't try and guilt trip or pressure her child. She will simply say, how can I support you right now? What do you need? Now, the core difference between a narcissistic mother and a healthy mother is that a normal healthy mother may be imperfect, may be tired, may be human, but her love for her child doesn't come at the expense of her child's sense of self. That child is free to be the person that it always was meant to be. It is not manipulated or changed into being a child that only suits the mother's needs. It is free, it is authentic, it is autonomous, and it is healthy. Now, if all of this brought up difficult emotions for you, if you really noticed how different a healthy mother is versus a narcissistic mother, then please share your experience in the comments below. I know that it can feel painful when you've not actually had a healthy mother and you may have just realized this. This is okay because it means that you can start the healing work now if you haven't already. Thank you so much for listening and for watching today, and I will see you in my next video very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.